what's up? Bobby and Brains. Another episode of BROMOSEXUALs. Kind of enjoying these. They're almost like a little bit of a therapy in many ways.
For both of us.
Yeah.
And hopefully for everyone else out there that does listen to them. But yeah.
This week I thought we'd do something a little different. We've been talking through the week about some shit that, like a pile up of stuff to chat about, and we haven't really. You've been away, so thought we'd have our other bromosexual, Jamie, behind the camera, shout out some of the topics, in question form, so we can kind of address it. Hit us with the first one, Jamie.
What the fuck are dreams?
And that's because you were saying about this crazy dream you had.
Are we talking about actual like dreams that we dream about, or dreams that we have to try to achieve something? Oh, we're talking about my crazy dream I had the other day.
Yeah,
when I was...
more from like your crazy dream of the day. I mean, like, how crazy are we talking? Was it like you were a Russian spy?
I was basically, it was
an address.
The biggest espionage film, so kind of Jason Bourne style, being chased by Vladimir Putin and his crew. It was pretty intense though, but
that sounds pretty cool. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. To me, it was a crazy dream because there's nowhere near that I can be a spy. Number one, I mean, I probably could be a spy. But number two,
you're like, there's no way I could be a spy. I probably could be a spy.
Maybe I'm a spy.
I've had,
but yeah, I think my question around that was, what triggers that? Like, what actually gives you, like, well, obviously we all got a whole bunch of crap on our mind and we think about shit, but why thoughts? Like, I could have dreamt about
sex.
I don't know, anything else. But I dreamt about being chased by Russian spies. I get the chasing part, I get the running away.
You know what I wonder? I wonder how much films are really influencing. If you think about it, they're moving pictures, their narratives, the stories. How much are they really influencing, like, all the stories that have been made that are captured on film that people are telling?
They basically think it's just a continuous cycle. That obviously movies and basically everything in society comes around an idea, and that idea gets portrayed in some form of art.
Yeah.
But then we continuously watch these ideas. Because if you think about every single style of music or film or anything. It's very boxed in.
Yeah.
Like, you get your action films, you get all that, and they kind of stick to the same pattern. So if we kind of continuously watching this, it's just a cycle of us continuously just being fed what we think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's really strange? Like, I mean, dreams have always been contentious for me, but like, I would say that probably 90% of all, I would say, was the good ideas, right? But that's conscious thought, right? But the ideas that I get most of the time from music, sometimes I'll wake up with a thing in my head. But who's to say? So I might be thinking like, oh, this is me that thought this, I'm coming up with an original thing. And I guess the process of making the idea work.
I think that's the point about it.
But I could have got that from somewhere else.
Exactly, that's the thing about the originality. I don't think any of us are original.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because we've been in such a, I think society's been going for so long, we've been in such a circle of, you think you come up with something that is a good idea. It's probably a great idea, but it's just influenced.
And you
it's
think
just
about
a copy of other ideas that are out there.
And you think about how many people take their dreams like so serious, as in like, you
know,
know,
looking for answers.
Yeah.
For this specific dream, I was just
you weren't taking this serious. You woke up, you were just like, I'm so stoked that I'm not a cross-dressing Russian spy.
Basically, yeah.
I'm just making up what the dream was there.
Wearing pink shorts.
No, guess what you're going to dream about tonight? You're going to be that cross-dressing spy.
Maybe I am that cross-dressing spy.
When I was 8, 9 years old, I had a lot of kind of weird shit going on, and the dreams I was having was of this night terror, this kind of demon that a lot of people see in their dreams, a lot of same people see in their dreams. But if you think about, and apparently this thing goes back, I mean, it's been drawn in books way before movies.
The Scream Mask thing.
Yeah, the Scream Mask, Edward Munch drew it. But so maybe that's, I don't know what that is, but I also do remember seeing Nightmare on Elm Street around that time for the first time. Young minds seeing Nightmare on Elm Street. Jesus, you know, like, that's pretty heavy on you. But the thing is, he actually wrote that movie. Yeah, because he had night terrors, and so Freddy Krueger was supposed to be the demon that we all see. So he said no, that was influenced from his night terrors. So you're trying to. So a lot of people actually blamed him for writing and giving people night terrors. It's like, no, he was basing it on his night terrors as a kid.
I think it's very
crazy.
A very simple-minded thing to do is blame someone for creating something on.
Yeah, like you're gonna
You
like
know
a
what I mean?
contemporary director, you know, like you
Yeah.
think about all the art in the world that's come before. Why didn't anyone go and find the family of Edvard Munch or whatever his name is and say, right, I want to have a word.
Just one little word.
I love how we've taken that question from, you know, what are dreams to.
It's always going to come down to that.
It's going to come to like
down that.
another. We just created another question of like, is there originality?
But that's the thing is everything. Think about, and this is going to get even deeper. Life is just questions within questions.
Yeah, it's almost like a multiverse of questions.
Basically, yeah.
You're just like spiraling down. I think that's got a lot to do with how little we know, though.
That's not an original idea, either, is it?
No, that's totally not. Like I've seen millions of docs on that. I've rabbit holed down so many docs about that I don't even know what I think anymore.
Come back to that term. I've actually heard that rabbit hole term a lot.
Yeah, you got to be conscious. And this is all about where intent and context comes into play, because rabbit holing when you're talking about porn can be something very different.
Don't want to get into that right now, I think.
What's the next question you got there, Jamie?
Why do girls go for dicks and the good dudes finish last?
Now you see, I've had a little think about this actually. Good dudes do not finish last.
I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Good dudes don't finish last.
Right.
What happens with good dudes is they just think they fall in love too quickly, and they think that those girls are the right for them, but they're just weaving through the bullshit.
Yeah.
As much as women can complain about how many dickhead men there are out there, it's the total same thing about how many asshole women there are out there.
I think there might be more, but I do get what you're saying. You can get psychopath. Psychopathy doesn't care what gender you are, you know. Like
That's my point. I don't think there should
you can
be.
get crazies.
There shouldn't be like a label put on, you know, men are assholes, women are assholes. Just humans are just assholes.
Yeah, I think everyone's got the potential to be a dick. Obviously, there is.
That's a good point. Actually, everyone does have a big potential. To
I think obviously because there's been way more oppression on women, there's been way more men. They were coming out of the idea now. We're coming out of the days and age of women being treated, you know, because it's not that long that they've been able to vote, and you know they have been more oppressed than men certainly have.
Very unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like one of the things I seen the other day, slightly different topic, but one of the things I seen the other day about toxic masculinity and stuff, and you know how much I hate the whole all men, because I think we're good guys, and I think it's unfortunate if women, because most of the time they're kind of forced to, but it's unfortunate if they paint us all with one brush because of relationships they've had. But that's also the same thing that dudes do when they say, "Oh, good guys finish last."
Oh, of course they do. Yeah.
They're painting all women with the same brush of the women that they've been hurt by.
Yeah.
So they think, "Oh, you know, I'm trying to be a nice guy, but then I'm going up to a girl and I'm all, hello, hi, you know," and they're all kind of timid. But it's a case of like, you don't have to play, you don't have to be like, you know, they're not playing, but they might just be soft. But then that means you've got to find someone who's like you. You've got to find a woman who's like you.
That was my exact point about going through, kind of wading your way through until you find someone. But then again, what does that mean? Why are we as a society so attached to the idea of coupling up with someone to create this happy life? Why aren't we? And yeah, I understand, you know, that
Storytelling, bro.
That creates, you know, it's procreation and how, you know, the population increases and so on and so forth. But
Well, I think people want to be happy, but I think it's.
But people need to be happy within themselves first, I think. And that's my point.
Of course, yeah.
The fact that a lot of people jump into relationships because they're looking for the happiness in someone else.
But you know how
And that's both man and woman.
So you've got a simple thing, right? You think, okay, simple math equation, right? You know, like good person looking for another good person, right? That sounds like the most simple thing in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrong, because your idea of, okay, I'm a good person, I'm a total good person. Well, also,
What is a good person?
Well, also, I've got child trauma, or I've seen my parents argue when they were young, and I don't want, now I maybe have issues that grow from that. Or I've been beaten up at school, so now I don't like any men standing too close to me. I don't like certain small areas. When I'm near situations where there's going to be a fight, I'll hit first. So there's all these things that actually push me further to the line of not a good person in the general consensus of what a good person is. And then I might see a girl, and this is all like I'm just kind of hypothesizing, but then I might meet a girl who I think is a good person, like all the right qualities that you would think, and of course in the first time that you're with them you might think they're a great person, and then you piss that person off, or you don't fit into what exactly they want from the trauma they've had in their life or the experiences they've had. Say you joke the wrong way and you don't quite understand why that joke hurts them in their past, they get offended by it, and now you're two evil people confronting each other because you're just not right for each other. But so you both say that you're bad people.
That's my whole point in that. Like, obviously, when you this is such a human trait that is, I think, such a backward trait, is the fact that when you meet someone and you get involved in that relationship, everyone says you're always portraying the best version of yourself, being so well behaved. Now, what's the point to that?
Yeah, because it's countdown to the point where you're like, God, I don't want to be behaved anymore.
Exactly, yeah. And it's kind of the fact that if you go into any relationship, but it's not just relationships, it's business relationship, it's friendship, it's every form of relationship. We're not just talking about like relationships, like sexual relationships, or like we're talking about all
general
sorts
relationships.
Of general relationships. Is the fact of, not nice people hang around with not nice people because they got something in common. Good people hang around with good people because they got something in common. So why not just go out there and be who you are, and then you'll fall within the category of what you're portraying.
I think the line of good and bad is such a weird one, because like who decides? Because like, all right,
so
that's a good
point. Like, what is being like a bad person? Okay, of course, we can narrow that down to, respect, not hurting people, no one getting harmed.
Yeah.
But I mean, hurting people is like physical hurt and even mental abuse or whatever. But just because
knowing that you're doing
agree.
something bad to someone, I would say is that's kind of a trait, right?
Maliciously.
Yeah. I'm just like if you actually had it in your soul to kind of bully someone or pick on someone, and not when you're young because that could be pushed down on
nasty.
you. But just be nasty to someone in an office environment or in a street, like a football fan shouting racist. Okay, that's bad. That's clearly bad. But like if you're just doing your shit and you maybe kind of said something that might have offended someone over there, okay, you're ignorant, like maybe you don't have space awareness or whatever, but like there is kind of one person who gets offended is going to say you're bad.
There's a word for that, misunderstood.
Yeah, like it's all like everyone's got their own categorizing of who's bad and what's bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like just because people don't get along doesn't mean they're bad people. It doesn't mean that there's that situation of if you have a strong work ethic and you're working extremely hard and your partner or whoever wants to chill with you on the sofa, but you don't want to give that person that time, you're a bad person. But no, because you got other things to do. So saying no to things or walking away from things doesn't really make you a bad person.
Yeah, I almost think it's a bit of a good trait, having the confidence to say no to things, because you'd rather say no to something and then be happy later with the person than say yes and then be annoyed. But I think that question's more actually a question of confidence, because I think if you're confident, and confidence is hard to get because it takes years of learning and making mistakes. When people say bad person, well, actually the best people later in life are going to be the people who did mess up, who were bad at one point and then learned how to not be.
Listen, I think that's a big point about everything, is the fact that a lot of
being
people...
bad isn't cool. It doesn't make you feel good.
Well, yeah, I mean, but a lot of people say that they've made mistakes. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
That's an important thing. The word mistake, I don't like it. You learn from your lessons.
Yeah.
So it's the fact of going through anything in life is a lesson to teach you.
So everything's a possible lesson for sure.
Yeah.
I think if the whole thing with nice guys, right, finishing last, I think you never finish if you're actually confident. Like, you might get hurt by one person and hurt by another. You're only finishing last if your confidence is getting just destroyed, where you're just like, oh, I give up, man. I give up. I can't go through this again. Okay, well then you finish last. But then that's that individual deciding that they finished last, and not going, well, maybe you're going for the wrong women all the time. Maybe you're doing something
just
a little...
There's something that I think every person should look into doing, is that becoming the best possible human, best possible person you can become. Like,
but not being afraid to make mistakes and mess up.
No, of course, but that's the thing. Like, how are you going to become a better version of yourself if you don't learn from your lessons?
Yeah.
So lessons, we talk mistakes. We don't like to use the word mistakes. Nothing's a mistake. It's a lesson.
Yeah.
But learn from that. So
Well, you
go
know
and out and do things, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, lessons, to improve yourself.
But you know a good way, what's hard to learn from mistakes if you, I think it all comes back to something that's really, really interesting is having goals, like having something that you're really into. Because if you're not going out there, I've got something to do today, I've got this big thing I'm trying to do, if you're not trying to get things together, right? Make things happen, or I've got to go meet friends, I've got to go out. If you're staying in the house, and maybe you're only playing video games, maybe you're only speaking to people online, maybe you're not really socializing enough, you're losing the practice of going out and making things happen.
Yeah,
and so you're always going to be you're either going to be central or low. And so when you do go out and you start talking to people, and you might not even realize, but you're coming across a bit weird, like, oh hi, or you're just staring at, you lose all the social skills. So then you all of a sudden think, oh, what? I just came out the house for the first time in 2 weeks, and this person's just walked away from me, and it's like, I guess I'm a bad player, or I guess I finished last. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not doing anything in your life to kind of keep you, exciting. Everyone wants a bit of excitement in their life.
Oh, that's what
you know what I mean? If you're trying to do something, if you're
I don't think you should live for excitement. I think you should just live for an interesting path.
Well, that's I kind of think it's one and the same. Is like an interesting life is going to have equal amount of ups and downs. I think.
Again, there's two sides to every coin, right? And the fact that some people perceive as an interesting life and happiness, other people look at that and don't like it. And some people actually just do enjoy being on their own, and taking that down that path. But
I think that's cool if you can actually feel happy on your own and be with other people occasionally. But if you feel that you need to be alone a lot and then you're kind of like withdrawing from the world, I think
self-deprivation.
Yeah, I think there is something dangerous about isolating yourself from the world.
Self-deprivation, isolation. Don't isolate yourself.
The best things.
It's very easy to do and isolate yourself. I mean, we've all been there. We've all isolated ourselves over time. But you learn to come out of it, don't you? You know what? One of the best things I think for if it's a case of like young men talking about like someone's having an argument on why do people fight? I think is that one of the questions on there. I was just thinking. Yeah. Just while there's someone having an argument. Maybe he's deaf. Oh, impaired of hearing, should I say rather? But maybe he's he's not having an argument at all. He's just talking loudly because he's impaired. You remember that advert? What was the advert with that big phone and the guy's like shouting on the bus? Oh yeah, Dom Jolly. Hello. Oh yeah, no, he's definitely having an argument. But he's just going bad. Oh, we should bring him over. We should bring him over and ask him why. Oh well, okay. Damn, he's screaming, "Call the police!" We're like eavesdropping now. This is kind of weird on us. Yeah, that sounds like a dispute of some sort. It's interesting though, like why do people get like that excited? I mean, I've been in loads of, especially in relationships. When you're seeing someone and you get really angry and you have fights, right? The thing is, like I've been in them, and afterwards, it just feels horrible. You never feel good. Of course, yeah. There's no win. Like no one wins. There's no point in it. If I no point in shouting, no point in arguing, no point in fighting whatsoever. And in the moment though, you wish you could tell yourself, it doesn't matter. Let it go. Let them win this. Yeah. But your ego in the moment, That's the big thing. Is ego, isn't it? It just drives you nuts. Yeah. Yeah. You wish you could just kind of curb your ego, because like every fight I've had and I'm talking about like in relationships, I think every fight I've had, like you never really remember them, like after you're not seeing the person. Like you always remember. I don't know. This is maybe just my thing. You always kind of like remember the good things. Yeah, of course. I mean, to be honest, like I'm the same. I never dwell on the negative. I always try to find a positive in every situation. I've had to learn the hard way to do that. You know what I mean? It's trying to train yourself. And super hard to do that in the middle of an argument, though. Yeah. It's like, still trying to work that one out, right? It's like the hardest thing. But I've always wondered, like, what is it that kind of makes us
that we want to contest a point, you know, because I've had arguments, and maybe
it's opinion, isn't it? It's trying to put your put your point across to convince the other person that you are right or you heard, or
when it's just your experience and their experience, and they don't match. So it should
break
be
it
a
down
case
to
of
that.
like,
It actually does sound like the most ridiculous thing.
it is. It's so ridiculous, but like, and it's super hard, especially if you're a certain age and you're going out with someone younger, because like things are so different. Like every 5 years, your whole mind, every 5 years you think that you were crazy the 5 years earlier. You didn't know shit. Every 5 years you learn so much more, and so like it's sometimes when you're the older person in a relationship with a younger person, what you should do is go, all right, and not in a condescending way. You should just kind of go, well, look, but I've been in that situation and I've said, you'll learn, and that is the worst thing you could say.
Yeah.
Because it's so condescending and it just drives you
Patronizing as well,
nuts.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next question?
What's the next question?
Is being offended popular?
I think it's becoming. I think being offended is becoming quite popular. I think it's like a new sport.
I want to understand that. What does that mean? Is being offended becoming popular? Like, what does that mean?
So people are seeming to get offended by like everything nowadays.
Okay,
and I don't mean by like, you know, there's some things are just genuinely offensive, but I think you have people overhearing conversations and then they'll take something out of context, not understand the intent, and then they'll like, sorry, what did you say? Like there's been so many situations. Like just a couple of weeks ago, I was wearing a T-shirt that had it had "We put the cunt in country," and it was all political people on the T-shirt, and now all horrible people. Like everyone in politics, really at a high level, they're horrible people. They've killed people. They do whatever it takes to get, you know. And all these people, like old school. This is 10 years. This shirt was made. It was the Circle of Rage Boys band T-shirt.
Okay.
And a girl had asked me like. Why are you wearing that? Why are you wearing that T-shirt? Please, you're gonna have to explain that T-shirt to me, because it was as in your T-shirt is offending me. You're gonna have to explain your T-shirt to me. And I've had someone. I was at a party a little while ago, and another girl, kind of was like, "Oh, she slapped me. She actually slapped me, like, but kind of in a jokey way. But she slapped me, and I was just like, whoa, like what?" She's like, "Your T-shirt," and like slap, and I was like. But these are people who you would think, and they say that they're left-minded people who get offended by it. And you know the reason they get offended? The two women who have seen this T-shirt have got offended because Hillary Clinton is on the T-shirt. This T-shirt was made 10 years before she ran.
Yeah, but
like, and also Obama's on the T-shirt. Like, then it's got Gorbachev. It's got it's got like famous Bush. It's got right and left. You know, but it's like they're offended just because there's got Maggie Thatcher on it, but they're offended because Hillary Clinton's on. And I said that when I explained it the one time, I was like, the whole thing is we put the cunt in country. All these people they're cunts because, you know, they've all killed and done horrible things.
Political people.
And the girl was like, yeah, but it's got Hillary Clinton on there. It's like, yeah, she's killed people. She's killed children in Libya. She's killed millions of people. She's a horrible human. So I go, why is Donald Trump not on there? It's like, this T-shirt was made 10 years before he ran. He wasn't in politics then. But they jump to get offended.
You know why? Because it's ignorance. It's the fact of instead of coming to you in a positive way of being like, hey, what's your T-shirt about?
Yeah.
It's with that negative attitude of, like.
But I'm seeing it so much now. And the thing is, I would say I'm on the left.
I'm offended.
I'm offended by everything. I would say that I'm on the left, but it's like, it seems sometimes that the left has been infiltrated by the right. Because in some ways...
I don't think there is any left or right anymore, is there?
It's just so extreme, you know? It's like, you know the civil rights movement of like, you know, back in the day of like freedom, you know, like freeing, like no more oppressing women, like, you know, black rights, like people, equal rights movement, right? And then at that time we needed freedom of speech. Now they're trying to get freedom of speech shut down. The whole PC movement is to shut down because there's too many right-wing people talking. It's like, well, you can't all of a sudden shut it down just because there's too many right people talking.
You just reminded me. That's why we saw this on. It was on some news out there somewhere in America that there was this girl, a woman. She's quite young though, but she. I remember whether it was from states. I'm like, university were protesting and trying to get the word woman taken out the dictionary because woman contained the word man, and it was offensive to women because it had the word man inside it. So her argument was like, well, woman should not be called woman because the word man is in that word. So the guy asked me, was like, well, what do you want me to call you then? She was, you can call me person.
Hello, person.
And then so he was, you have to watch. I can't remember what it is. We'll add the link in here.
I've seen a lot of that stuff, man. It's just they want to call babies babies now because they don't want to condemn them to having a he or a she. What about all the
babies?
So they want to call babies babies. So you know how the pronouns of he, she, they want they, you know? And it's like, man, what about all the strong? What about the feminist movement was about being a she strongly, being a strong woman, and now you don't want people to. You don't want strong. So the whole the new movements nowadays are just counteracting all the good work. You know.
I think it's boredom.
I don't know. I just think it's like, you know, being heightened, and because there's so much trauma that's went over, the statistics of crimes against women are diabolical in the world. So we do know that a lot of women live with more fear. Like in everyday walking around the streets, right? Not at one point do I feel unsafe. But as a woman, you actually genuinely do, because someone can just come and grab your breasts or grab your ass, you know. So it is a different world, and I can understand that then there's a lot of anger for how bad things have been for so many years, but it's getting better, and surely you don't kind of right or wrong by making more wrongs. Surely equal rights, and kind of if anyone treats people wrong, men, women, if anyone's treating people wrong, surely you just kind of, like, everyone goes, whoa, that's lame, why are you doing that, you know, like, and then they don't do it again, they learn. But if everyone's trying their hardest not to offend anyone and trying not to do anything wrong, and then going home at night and just being horrible to the people at home, it's all going to build up. If you're an asshole, surely you want assholes to show themselves, and then you want them to learn. But now they want, no, shut them down, you can't do that. It's like this weird form of oppression of the world then.
It's a waste of time though. I don't know.
Crazy, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, what's the next question?
What's the next question?
How did 4chan trolls manipulate the world so easy?
Did you see?
No, I didn't see that. What was that about?
Joe Rogan kind of got totally trolled on this. Basically, again, with the over the score offensive thing. Like, I genuinely think the word I'm offended is going to become like, all right, it's not going to have any meaning anymore. Right. It's going to, you know, people are going to go like, all right, you offended. And you go, yeah, all right, how's it going? You offended? You offended? And that's what's going to become, because in time, people aren't going to know that offended was actually supposed to be a real word, and people were, you know, you were supposed to actually wait to get offended by something, or something really, really had to happen.
What's that's coming back to that word offended. Is it like a certain age group this happens in?
It's definitely the kind of, you know, the social justice warrior, millennial, you know, younger kind of, you know, read a book for the first time at uni, you know, got extremely pissed off. But then there are people, there are groups, and there are people who should be, you know, but their movements end up getting shut on by crazy people.
I think that's your point, is the fact that it shouldn't just be shouldn't turn into a blasé word. It should actually be something. There are things that you should get offended about. Yeah.
And also, you should get offended, and you should learn to kind of be stronger. This is a crazy world. This is a jungle. And if you're trying to want the world to be always safe and no danger at all, then how do you become stronger?
This is the point.
I mean, that's how a man thought, but
if someone offends me, for me, it is a personal attack on my character. That's offensive. That's something. If someone
says like, Rob, you're a fucking prick.
I'm offended. Yeah, I am.
Well,
but that's my
be
point.
Offended.
Well, that's my point. Just because if someone, you know, this dude behind us is shouting, doing this thing, it doesn't offend me. I kind of feel sorry for the dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Feel sorry for whoever they're fairly shouting at.
Hell, that as well, yeah. But you know, it's I think that word offended needs to be turned back into attack on your personality, or on the person yourself. Just because someone is doing something in the street or wearing a silly T-shirt, well, not even a silly T-shirt, just wearing a T-shirt.
Well, this is how silly it gets. So Joe Rogan, So there was a thing that hit the internet, and it was like basically, you know, the sign here, like the whole like A-OK, like brilliant, you know. So it came out that some people were saying that now means white power because of the W and the P.
Real?
Yeah, and so they were just going crazy, like, what? The internet went, and so many people were like, it does. Well, yeah, it totally does. And then people going, ban that sign. You know, any white people cannot do that because that means they're racist. And it's like, man, like, what? You know, so it started going crazy online. People really jumped on it. Social justice warriors were like putting these banners everywhere, ban that sign. We don't want that sign anywhere. And it turned out that it actually just came from 4chan. It was just someone just made it up just to see how it would just take on, and it took on like crazy.
How the internet.
And some of the same 4chan trolls. I don't know if you remember the bleed through thing. It was like I don't know if it was 1 million women or it was a lot of women worldwide got together on one day, and they just let themselves bleed through down their legs, through their panties, and just because there was something about. Tampons were going to be taxed.
Yes,
you know,
that was the whole thing.
And so they just did that on that day. And I think that how many people would have been like, you can't increase tax on tampons? That's ridiculous, right? And so it turned out that was also just a 4chan troll, and there was never any attempt to increase the, you know, but it got people so angry, and then all these people end up doing that. And it's kind of like,
it shows you how quickly like movements can
it shows you how someone can just make up something, and it shows you that people aren't actually doing the due diligence. They're not checking up on this stuff.
No one does anything like
They're not like going, before I jump to get triggered, and before I kind of calm myself and actually like, let me think about what I really want to do here. Maybe there's something else we can do. Yep, no, that's it. We're going to do this. Fuck it. Balls to the wall.
But
crazy
if you take majority of the people that are actually trolling, and this whole like trolling word online, keyboard warrior sort of shit, right? You put them in a normal sort of social environment, they won't say a word. That's the excuse me. That's the whole. I think that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
Is the fact that there's this platform where so many people can give their opinions and not be held like that accountable for it, because you know, there's a difference between having an argument with someone in text format and then having an argument with someone on the phone and having an argument with someone face to face. I mean, there's certain levels of that.
Yeah.
And basically everything now is just sort of these tapping away and creating all this stuff online.
Yeah.
The bad thing is that what people actually don't even realize is that all that shit that you put online and all that stuff that you say
Can and will be used against you.
and it most definitely will. If you have an argument with someone face to face, unless someone's got a recording device there, which basically 99% of the time no one does, you can't be held accountable for your words. So we actually, all these people who think they, you know, hiding behind a wall, they're basically not. They actually, they just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And you know what's really crazy as well is like, you know, back in the day, the propaganda would have just been like governments using certain propaganda to put through bullshit stuff, or and this has been happening a long time. The guy Ed Bernay, back in the day, Ed Bernay was, I think he was one of the relatives of Freud, right? And that whole psychology group of people who were coming up with these ideas of how to treat people with mental illness, most of it was basically to keep people sedated, to keep coming back to get treatment, to make more money. So he was using a lot of those techniques, and one of the big ones he used, he wrote a few books, and they became, one of them, I think it wasn't Manufacturing Consent, but one of them became the book that Joseph Goebbels used as the main book for Nazi propaganda.
Wow.
And this guy was an American, sociologist or psychologist, but basically he was approached by feminists in the 50s, and they asked him, like, is there techniques or things that we can do to really push our struggle forward, you know, like, what can we do? And he was like, all right, brilliant, I've got a classic answer for it. You know, he says basically what you want to do is when you're marching through New York, through Manhattan, you want to get all of the women up front to smoke cigarettes, because that will tell men that you're strong, you're on their level. And they all did it, right? And the women thought, we're putting it, you know, the feminists were like, yes, we're gonna show them, right? And what it was is he actually went and did a deal with a smoking company. and it boosted smoking through the roof. Like more women around the world started to smoke because it was like, well, these feminists are smoking, I'm going to smoke now. And so feminists end up being used.
So smoking was used as like
to sell smoking.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the same thing that's happening now. 4chan trolls doing this. They're using propaganda to fuck with you, to get people just crazy, getting angry, and they're enjoying it.
Isn't it? You know, I'm going to divert off these questions and this topic quickly, but
you're gonna wax lyrical.
We're gonna wax lyrical this one, but so myself and a very close friend of mine, Leroy, and his housemate Matt, we've been having a discussion this week about the Earth being flat and NASA lying.
Oh God.
And
do either of them think it is?
It is quite interesting. Now listen to this, right? And everyone go away and do your research. I'm not saying that I believe in it, but what I'm saying is that some of the evidence and some of the stuff that they are bringing out from both sides obviously is very interesting. But this Flat Earth Society, they come up with some really, really good scientific proof that's kind of just like, wow.
I've seen it all. It's been debunked in the most ridiculously easy way.
No, but okay, no. So a lot of the other stuff I was kind of like, yeah, cool, whatever. There was one that
taking a flight.
No, but that's the thing. All right, I'll get into that one. But there was this one that really got me. I was just like, interesting. I'm not saying that I believe in it. I'm not saying I don't believe in it. I'm just saying interesting. So, there's mathematical calculations that these mathematicians did, where they took space over like a certain distance. Looked at a flat lake, but there's a city on the other side of this lake, right? And they worked out like the curvature.
You're talking about the point of perspective?
Yeah, with a laser.
It's proven.
Has it?
Yeah.
How?
It's basically like, so you're talking about like you shoot a laser and it hits a point like so far away and it just goes straight.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember exactly that one, but that's been really disproven. The main ones, so they say something about like the horizon, you know, like if a boat goes over the horizon, the nose, like surely the nose would dip first or something like that, right?
I haven't heard that one yet,
But basically, I mean, I rabbit holed it like crazy, just because just to have a look, mostly just to have a look at like some of the people who are really compelled by it. There's one person that I like a lot, and I'm thinking surely you can't be, and they totally believe it. Eddie Bravo, phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy, and he's totally 100% head over heels in it. But I've seen people show him, and I mean, there's someone who was one of the people who were the first people to start speaking about it, did a thing with Stephen Molyneux, a YouTube guy, called him up on the phone and was talking about it, and they did an hour and Molyneux destroyed every single one. The guy was left at the end of it.
Really?
Yeah, basically
I think it's
one of the main ones is like
such an interesting, because I mean
it's amazing that it's got so big, but that really just does come to the fact of like, if I say like an idea to you and I put loads of numbers in and I, you know, really good the way I've thought about
everything
it,
with like
unless
very
you,
good evidence,
unless you know the books, unless you know, but the thing is they say that so that there is satellites right now and that have live feeds from certain satellites, right? So and you can go online and watch those live feeds from above the Earth, so you can see the whole Earth turning.
But that's something that's been debunked by this Flat Earth Society. And this is the thing, because both arguments are compelling as hell. I mean, obviously for me, I'm leaning more towards, the Earth is round and the universe out there, and there's a lot of shit going out there. But
leaning? That's the crazy thing. The crazy thing that you're actually just anywhere.
No, because what the thing that I'm doing is I find it so interesting. The thing I find it is, I'm not, okay, well, yeah, I would say leaning more towards it. I mean, leaning more towards it, the fact, but these arguments that the Flat Earth Society are coming up with, I'm just going, this is.
What about the one that they say
stuff.
that the sun is not a sun, it's a massive bulb that is something like 4,000 meters high?
No, I don't believe that one.
Now, if you live in Australia and it's different and it's dark now, do you know what I mean?
I know there is a lot of that. I don't know. I mean, I just thought
that
because
means the world is round.
There's just been a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation around this in this household that I'm in at the moment. I think it's such a, to be honest, the cool thing about it, and the reason why I brought it up, because the point I wanted to make was, it's so much more fun having these kind of conversations than watching shitty TV or talking about other people, or kind of trying to question each other. You know, someone trying to come up with a point. And you're like, I'm not saying that Leroy doesn't believe in it, but he's trying to find all the stuff. He's like, how crazy is this? And then we will go find something else. So what we're actually doing, we're looking at what the Flat Earth Society is saying, wow, that's quite believable, all right? And then go and find.
But when you
counter
find
to
it,
that,
when you find
and
the
you go,
evidence, it's like,
when you go find the counter, and you're like, okay, okay, cool.
I think I spent, the first time I came across that, I think I spent 20 minutes going, oh, that is quite interesting. And then, like, the obvious, because I was ignoring the obvious ones, right? And then as soon as I looked at the obvious ones, I was like,
Do you honestly think that I was gonna come say, hey, I think the Earth's flat?
No, if you did, I was gonna go end this right now. But you know, but the interesting thing is, because of like the power of these 4chan type like trolls and the amount of people that are creating it. Like, look at Scientology. Scientology is created by a fucking science fiction writer. A science fiction writer said he was gonna do it. Actually said that he was going to do it to get tax write-offs. He was going to create his own religion because you don't get charged tax, right? He says he was going to do it, and then he did it, and then he got away with it. And now, obviously, some people who are a part of Scientology, it works for them or whatever, right? So, but obviously, some at the top know that it's a fucking, they're just having a laugh. But it's like, but then you get that, and then I don't know if you've heard of the Mandela effect.
Yeah, but what is Mandela effect?
And the Mandela effect is that people believe, because obviously there is now machines like D-Wave quantum computers that work on 500 qubits, so that can compute more bits of information than atoms in a known universe.
What does Mandela have to do with it?
I'll tell you. So people think that because these machines are there, they can go into the Planck distance, right, and change bits of information, change bits of the past, right? And then it just becomes removed from our existence. And they think that governments are, and you get further down the line, right, and it ends up, where do you think it ends up? A religious thing. Same with Flat Earth. Where that ends up? A religious thing. It's, there is a God, God created us, and we live on a flat plate. That's Flat Earth. The Mandela effect is there is a God, God created us, and now all the governments are trying to change the history. And so they go, what's the big one that they say? Mandela. There is people alive that think Mandela died in jail. And so many people, if you go online and type it in, like, how many people think Mandela died in jail? And it's like in the 60%. And you're like, what? Like, one of the most important people on the planet who famously spent 22 years in jail, got out of jail, and then led a country. Do you know what I mean? Like, what?
Are those the same people that think Elvis is still alive?
And so there's so many of it, like the Bernstein Bears or the Bernstein Bears. There's all these things. And and really what it comes to is just people have bad memories. So like people think, mirror, mirror on the wall from Snow White. Actually, she never said that. But you think she did say it. But actually, she never said it. But then at some point, she just says, she doesn't say mirror, mirror. She looks at the mirror and she says, tell me something, 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 right? But then mirror, mirror was used in an advert to promote the film, and then everyone got mirror, mirror, and then they made a famous show, a stage show based on it called Mirror, Mirror. So everyone thought mirror, mirror was from the film, and now people are going, oh, it's been removed from the film. They're trying to, it's this conspiratorial mind that everyone has. Wow. So it shows how kind of that and the kind of 4chan trolls, and basically just using propaganda that used to be used to start wars, showing us how easy it is to create propaganda to make you think that someone's pulling.
To us, I think starting propaganda now is way easier to start.
Oh yeah.
It's Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. What's the next question there? Oh.
Have the left been infiltrated by the right?
We were just talking about this earlier. Like, a lot of the a lot of the kind of social justice original things that happened were kind of left movements, freedom of speech, and they're kind of, it's easy to think that, I think, because they're kind of becoming, that's what the left now wants to shut down freedom of speech because it's so full of, like, they think hate speech, so they don't want to hear it, so it feels like they're infiltrated by a right movement because it seems so right. It seems so right wing to be able to want to shut people down.
Maybe this is I don't know. For me, like hearing this sort of stuff, I think there's a lot more that people can concentrate on their lives. And for me, what I mean by that is kind of just like, instead of trying to take things away, go back into who you are.
Yeah.
And bring out something good.
Yeah.
There's too much. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of need to think about that for a while, but it's just there's so much.
I don't like the left versus right identity politics. It's like on some things, we all have a left and right side of our brain. We all are conservative in some ways and kind of creative and liberal in the other.
That's the thing. I'm not deeply involved in politics. I'm not really. It's never been something that's interested me that much. And maybe it should. Maybe I should get more involved in. But I think it's just there's got to be other things to do with your time. But then again, that's
why it goes back to that whole have something, be about something, try to live an interesting life, and you won't be so caught up in, oh, this person said that. Oh my God, the world's over. Trump's in power. It's like, shut up. There's always been a cunt in power. Why is it any different now?
When is any maybe. Ever since after the wars, right? When is any of the government? That's why they put all these other stringent things in place, these rules in these other parties, and other parties, the other parties to just because the president or the prime minister says something doesn't mean it's going to happen. They have to jump through so many hoops and try to get so many things signed off, and so many people on their side and votes. Those things are put in there so you don't get idiots just doing dumb things.
Yeah, I think the heightened anger, and if you're like angry but I think what the kind of extreme anger and like jumping at things, like shouting in people's face, trying to shut people down, trying to get professors at universities kicked out, trying to hearing one word and then screaming help, or like like I'm in danger. It's all, if you're doing stuff like that, or if you're online and you're going, this person said this, and you create such a thing, you actually end up promoting the bad guy way more. Trump may never have, if they didn't jump on so many things he said and like pretend to, and get so offended by, he used the words grabbing them by the pussy, grab a woman by the pussy. Like, the whole world should just been like, a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, not giving him any
instead,
not giving him a platform, really, isn't it?
Yeah, people got so angry about it, and then how many like dudes, that middle America, that kind of dudes who are like being shut down a lot, or people who just were like, oh man, like it was a joke. People end up liking him more.
But then, and that's when why are we so? It's actually a question I asked myself the other day, because we obviously doing so much research, not doing so much research, but like getting so involved in this whole NASA, flat Earth, round Earth.
You're getting involved with that.
and then like understanding like Trump, and there's so much focus on what America is doing. And I thought, why are we continuously thinking about America? Why are we not thinking about like India or I don't know, some other country that there's so much focus on the American culture.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world.
There's so many other things that are going on in the world that if the news just imagine all the news outlets, and this is obviously shows you how it's controlled, did not report for 1 month, even a week, on anything America did. Imagine that. The place would
America probably got at business.
The place would fall apart. It's seriously.
But the crazy thing is, we're concentrating what they're doing over here. What about Theresa May, like passing through a bill legalizing the sale of and this is one of the questions on that, but I will just go into it straight away. But like legalizing the sale of children's sex dolls for pedophiles.
Hearing that makes me.
Theresa May did that. A woman has the power to be a cunt.
Makes me so. It's there's no words for that.
And the
There's
idea
no-
is that
no words for that. It's just-
it'll stop paedophiles doing it with real children. It's like, when have you ever done something a lot and then like finished a toy and been like, oh, I don't want another toy? How do they not realize they're just going to want the real thing? Obviously, it's a compulsion. It's a mental disorder. They're going to want the real thing because the real thing is the thing they're addicted to, not fucking a plastic thing.
But it just seems to be what makes me want to fucking.
It does make me want to kill.
Lose my mind, but
Makes me want to go online and start like, ah.
not even just. Oh,
I'm hoping that everyone, like, no one knows. I'm hoping it's like gonna, you know.
get swept under the carpet. But also, that just shows you like the education of you think people in politics are smart. No. People in politics aren't smart. They can just talk bullshit.
I genuinely think sometimes they put things like this through to get all the kind of social justice warrior types and people to get angry, and all the liberals to get angry, so that everyone talks about it. And it's this weird way of it'll still, you know, because so many people will talk about it, it's like an easy way of marking it to the right wing people, you know. But the fact that they actually put that through and they kind of rationalized it, that it would be good for stopping pedophilia, it's like, try it in jail with convicted pedophiles.
No, don't fucking even try the fucking idea.
You'd be able to
It's not even
see.
an idea.
How do they try it in jail? Sorry, Tammy, you're going to have to go into this correctional facility. We've tried this guy with the doll. You know, take one for the team. Like, not going to be able to try it in jail. You know, you can't try that idea. It's a dumb idea. Throw it out.
Let's go to the next question because it's just not even worth the breath.
Yeah.
What's
What's the next question?
Is it possible to cure psychopaths?
This is an interesting one. Is it possible to cure psychopaths? I heard that if you can't catch them,
I'll tell you about like
catch them, but if you don't get it.
electroshock therapy.
Well, they used to do that a lot with anything. I think ADHD in the past used to be treated by electroshock therapy.
Anything with electroshock therapy.
I think I've been I think I self-treated myself one time with electroshock therapy. That was just because I was trying to eat a remote control. But
Those 9 volts, the 9 volts can really hurt.
You know when you put the battery on your tongue? I used to do that all the time, and I actually think that I was giving myself electroshock therapy. I was 4.
Probably were giving
But
yourself
maybe I
away.
was
You were
stopping
quite
it because
small.
apparently if a child is a psychopath and there's something like 1 every 10 I was gonna say every 10 minutes, only every 10 people or something.
The kind of question, no, not kind of question, but the question on that: Are you born a psychopath, or
Yeah.
are you molded into one
Well-
through experience? Because I believe, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not the most.
I think we know. He just brought up flat Earth. Everything you say from now is getting taken with a pinch of salt.
And I wouldn't classify myself as the most intelligent human in the world, but you know, I do have some intelligence somewhere. But what I believe in is the fact that when you're born, everyone is born equal. That day you come into this earth,
Unless you're born without like an arm or like
no, because this is brain.
Right.
So once that brain comes into the earth, it's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see how DNA can make you.
Oh no, it's definitely been proven. Like things travel through DNA. I mean,
Is it proven that?
trauma can travel through DNA because essentially your DNA is made up of your mom and dad's, right? So if your dad has psychopathy in his past, and he might not have triggered to it, he might have
I told you.
sustained it.
I'm not a doctor. But
But your grandparent could have it, and it skips your dad, and then you can get it. So it's one of these things. It's like hereditary diseases. They work the same way. Like
you know what? I want to cut this episode. I'm coming across as an idiot.
no, but it's. I mean, I wouldn't have known that unless I'm not. I don't know that. I just watched a documentary on it.
Okay.
No one does.
Start sending me the links.
Yeah, but I saw in this one documentary, and I watched this documentary because I saw the Netflix show Evil Genius, and it's about a fucking mental
I haven't
case
seen it, but-
who like she just pulls off. She kind of kills 4 of her boyfriends. Pulls off this. I don't want to give away. I'm fucking giving away the whole story, but just watch it. But it made me watch this other documentary about psychopaths, and apparently, if you don't catch it by 4 years old, you can't cure it. But now there is actually some really, because I started rabbit hole and I was like, can it be cured? And I was searching all this stuff, and there's a TED talk by 2 doctors and it's really controversial stuff.
Mm.
But they basically have got this. They open up the brain and they go in and they start like changing the synapses. They kind of fire in synapses. So basically, they started to do it to cure things like MS. People who can't walk, they could go into the brain to. People who are chronically depressed, they go and fix it, make them smile, like, and it's really hardcore, but it is actually like changing the brain,
Wow.
So they're saying they
Like
can do
tuning
that.
it.
They can do that with psychopathy, but now people are trying to shut it down. Like, no way. They won't get the funding, so they can do it. It's just that it's really hard to go through. You know,
Wow.
but it's real hardcore shit because
That's
like.
interesting.
You can just be born brain damaged, like it is a form of brain damage. You can see the brain of someone who's a psychopath, or like someone can fall down. The one person that I know is in this documentary, they fell down the stairs when they were a kid. They took a heavy blow, and it actually made a impression mark on their brain, and that sent all the synapses wrong, and so they just couldn't connect with things that they liked, and they got angry really quick.
I've kind of lived through that. Someone that I know that actually had a big brain injury. He was in a coma for a while, and when he came out in coma, he couldn't speak. Obviously, his native tongue was English. He was speaking Zulu fluently,
Oh wow.
and had to relearn how to speak
Yeah.
English. But then when that was as he woke up, this fluent Zulu came about, and it was like, well, everyone was like, what the hell's going on? This is ridiculous. Like, we didn't know that he could speak.
Yeah. I
Zulu,
couldn't speak
whatever.
it before.
No, well, I mean, some like
Some little bits,
words
yeah.
how we knew, but this was like full on
Wow.
Zulu. But then obviously when the brain started repairing itself, he lost that ability and went back to his native English. So, like, I do believe that if you injure or knock certain parts of the brain or change certain things in the brain, you can easily change it. Yeah, like.
Yeah, but it's so bad, like for children. I saw this other documentary, and I actually haven't seen this one, but I saw that it was one of the favorite docs of. It was one of the most influential docs that Louis Theroux ever watched. So I saw him talking about it. It's one I probably watched it at some point. I think it's called Minnie or Timmy, or I don't know. It's about an 11-year-old psychopath who burns down houses and shit.
Wow.
And you're like, apparently, like, this is what Louis Theroux said. He's like watching it, and you're thinking, there's no way this little kid could be a psychopath. And at one point, it shows you the kid talking about a family's house that he burned down. He's talking about it laughing, and you're just like, oh man. So what do you do with that? And you think about how many psychopaths are out there.
If there is like modern science, medicine that could change it, like straight up, all for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, don't you think this game, maybe slightly off piece there, but the government control this sort of shit to keep us in a herd, to keep us controlled, because
Well, like not wanting to just get that treatment out there to get.
because psychopaths, anything anything that keeps the population down,
Yeah.
people want that. People like
Yeah, because you kind of need a bit of crime every now and then, But also, like, parents, like, if your kid is like the Omen kid, just like killing people and shit, or like doing evil things, you probably wouldn't even be unless they did something like burn a house down or something, or a school down. You wouldn't really. You would want to fight it, wouldn't you? You would want to not.
Yeah. But then, being
Poor baby.
being a parent, being a it's very hard to think your child can do any wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when it like stabs you in the leg, you're just like, oh no, I just had a bad day. Gouged one of the neighborhood's kids' eyes out. Just kids these days. Let's maybe do the last question, if there is one.
So yeah, there's a few more. The last one was, how big a life lesson is learning to forgive yourself?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a good one.
How good is a life lesson? Don't forgive yourself. I think that's a very, very, very hard thing to do. But
It's probably one of the hardest.
The most rewarding thing to do is if you, and this is obviously on certain levels of forgiveness or for what you do. You know what I mean? But I think, I don't know.
I'm tough on myself a lot of the time. So I did a hellish shit this morning.
That's a
real greasy steamer.
How did you forgive yourself?
I haven't yet.
Still working on that one.
I haven't. Some things they just don't. But in reality, like, it's like we are a bit hard on ourselves, and even when we think, I don't think people would even hear like, learn to forgive yourself and be like, people would just go, yeah, cool. But they don't. Because
No.
it's such a weird thing. It's like if you have a bad day and things just hang on. They hang on you. You get angry and annoyed, and you just ugh. And it's
Yeah,
like,
but I think for me the point is learning to forgive yourself is not standing in front of a mirror or sitting in a room by yourself being like, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to.
mirror, mirror on the wall. Why are you such a cunt?
I'm sorry. You know, I think it's the process of acceptance. That's learning to forgive yourself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like letting go of things. Like, all right, look, yeah, I had a bad one today. I shouted at someone, or like, one of the things that I hated when I was a kid was, I was probably 17 or 17, 18, and I was making a beat, and my niece was probably like 4 years old, and she ran in the room, and I was like, get out! And to this day, I still hate that I did that. I still angry at myself for doing that.
You haven't forgiven yourself yet.
It's a weird thing. I think sometimes we know that we have the potential to be such cunts, and I think sometimes that grounds us so that we don't get too egotistical, but sometimes it can keep us sunk in a hole.
You know, for me with everything is about balance.
Yeah.
You can't be too much of a nice person, you can't be too much of a bad person. You need to do bad things, you need to go through experiences to learn. Now when we talk about bad things, we don't talk about
Deliberately trying to do it. Yeah.
But if you know,
Bad
people
things
make
will happen.
Yeah. Well, if you say something wrong, you get an argument with someone. If you lose your temper and you hit someone or you get into a fight, you know what I mean? It's the average person doesn't feed off that.
Yeah.
So but we all end up doing it.
I think the hardest thing, the easier thing to do is say sorry to someone. I never want anyone to say sorry to me. I never need it. Like, you know.
For me, saying sorry is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah. Meaning it is a tough thing, but I think you only really mean it if you actually can be sorry with yourself. If you can forgive yourself.
And
You know
that
what I
is
mean?
forgiveness of yourself, yes.
I think we might. Is there any left? We'll see. How long have we gone?
We got do another 20 minutes.
Well,
It's bang on the hour.
Oh, we're on an hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should cut it because we did talk shit for a long time, didn't we?
Probably wrap it up. So I would say to wrap it up, there is a lot of psychopaths out there. There's a lot of flat earth believers. There's a lot of trolls. Let's get together and have a good time.